that I've read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She's a personal finance expert, an entrepreneur, as well as an author, and the author of the debut book, Abundance Whispered, or Unleashed, sorry. No other than Dr. Renee Baker.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Welcome, welcome, Dr. Renee, and congratulations to your abundance unleashed. Thank you for sharing to the world, and congratulations. So, can you
Thank
please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yes, of course, and thank you again for having me. So my name is Dr. Renee Baker. I spent 30 years, believe it or not, in a corporate environment before I decided in 2023 to live what I call the unleashed life. And I decided that I was going to make the leap, pursue full-time entrepreneurship, and do more of the things that fill my cup, which also included writing a book and working more on my entrepreneurial initiatives, as well as a professor, an adjunct professor at a university. So I'm able to give back to the community in that way, as well as through community service.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Dr. Renee. Thank you. Hoping for more and more empowering books like this to come.
Thank you.
The book titles promises to redefine wealth and success. What is the most common outdated definition people are operating under that your book directly challenges, and what do you replace it with?
Yeah, so I love this question because when I talk about redefining wealth and I would talk about redefining success, I think one of the things that this book challenges is that oftentimes we think that more money, bigger titles, and more visibility is going to give us the freedom that we want. Without realizing sometimes as we're climbing the ladder, we have to think about whether that ladder is leaning up against the wrong wall. So, redefining wealth, redefining success means building wealth and what that means to you and all the ways that matters. And what's wealth to me may be different from wealth to you. And what I realized after years of climbing up that ladder, I had to sit with myself and say, are you, what's your why? Right. And are you climbing up the wrong wall? So, or is your ladder leaning up against the wrong wall? So I had to come up with a redefining that for myself, and that's what this book is is about.
Well, very well said, Dr. Renee. Very well said. And what is your vision and mission to this book?
Well, one of the things is I would like for individuals to really sit with themselves. We have to start asking ourselves the questions around what does success really mean to us? What do we want for this one precious life that we get? And as for those of us that are highly ambitious, type A, which is very much on brand for me, I spent my career in financial services. One of the things that I had to realize is that my mission has evolved. My mission used to be, I was hustle culture, and I will be the first one to tell you, I wanted it all. Give me the money, give me the titles, give it all to me. And I'm not going to say I don't like money. It's just my definition of it has evolved. So the mission is to have people sit with redefining wealth, how they create wealth, what wealth means to them, what is wealth in all the ways that matter, and what does success mean, and what are you going to do with this one precious life that we all have. We only get one shot at it.
One shot, people, one shot. Abundance versus scarcity. You talk about abundance unleashed. How is abundance mindset fundamentally different from just thinking positively or wishing for more money? So, what is the core shift in this
So
belief?
Yeah, because oftentimes when people think about what is abundance, they think it's woo, right? Like, oh, like abundance is this woo topic, this one thing that is out of all of our reach. And I look at abundance more from the perspective of the holistic version of everything that we are. So I can live an abundant lifestyle in health. I can live abundance lifestyle in wealth and in self. And no longer am I holding myself up against this standard that separates who I am from who I always say I am her. I don't have to become her. I don't need to worry about how I am showing up in the world. I'm not limiting myself. I'm living the full breadth and depth of life. And I think that it's more about we have possibilities and it's up to us to make the decision of how we want to move forward with that.
The new wealth trinity. If wealth is not just money, what are the two or three other pillars of true abundance that you argue are non negotiable to fulfill life and why they are inseparable?
I love this question because I really, as I was going through this process of writing this book, and just for a little bit more context, this book was a book that was purely about wealth when I first started writing it 4 years ago. And then as I was working through this book and I was going through my own personal journey, the definition of wealth changed for me. So let's just start about what is wealth, right? Is that what you were asking, right? What is
Mm-hmm.
your question? One, wealth became health. So, one of the things that happened after I left corporate is I was diagnosed with cancer. And when I was diagnosed with cancer, I had to sit with the fact that one, I might not be here. And everything, all of the plans that I had when I left corporate, all the goals that I had wanted for myself, the only thing that mattered in that moment was me still being here. And the only thing that mattered was my health. So one is for me at least, and that's why I say we all get to define it for ourselves. But I tell the story about how abundance changed because it became first about wealth. I mean, about health became wealth. The other thing that was really important to me, Daniel, is about the freedom to choose. Oftentimes, we think if we make a lot of money, if we save a great deal of money, if we have all of the accoutrements of success, that will be success. But one of the things that I've experienced, and one of the things that I learned is that just because you're financially well off, that doesn't mean you're free. And oftentimes, when we have to unleash ourselves, we have to unleash ourselves from our version of what success looks like. And for many people, including myself, it was the things, it was about stuff, and it wasn't about the things that matter. Today, wealth for me is the freedom to choose how I spend my time. I get to choose um, that I can work in anywhere that I want. I get to choose how I work. I get to choose. I always do 10 things for myself before I do anything else for the rest of the world. I used to wake up, Daniel, and the first thing I did was pick up my phone and respond to emails and get started the day into the day. Now my day belongs to me. And so true abundance is the fact that I own my calendar and I get to essentially own my bank account. Because one of the things that I learned in my time in finance and my time in corporate is the same people who feed you are the same ones that can starve you. So I had to learn that for myself. And again, that was my journey. The other thing was I talked about, what are you going to do with this one precious life that you have? And it's what are the things that we do beyond the titles? When you strip all the things away, what's left? And for me, it meant purpose and impact. How was I going to use my life to help other people be better? Because accumulation without contribution is meaningless. I want to leave the world better than I found it. I want to leave every interaction better than I found it. And that material success sometimes leaves some of us hollow. So, those are the three things I say: purpose and impact, health and vitality, and knowing that we get to choose time or how we use our time and having that sovereignty and unleashing ourselves from all the things that are holding us back.
Interesting, Dr. Renee. So, the source of scarcity. What do you believe are cultural and personal narratives of scarcity and not enough primarily come from? And how does your book help readers identify and dismantle them for our future generation?
Yeah, so when we talk about scarcity and our mindset around that, how can we close that loop? So for me, scarcity was not realizing that there were possibilities. So I thought there's one path to success, and it meant that I had to be have a certain title, have certain degrees, and I've done all those things, right? But the reality is, how can I start to dismantle the expectations of society and in a way that's not, I'm not really a renegade or anything like that, but I had to sit with myself and say, am I giving myself a scarcity mindset by not thinking that I can live the life that I want to live for myself? Not the life that someone says that I should live, but I get to choose. Another thing was scarcity of mindset. And we have these cycles of scarcity thinking. And a lot of my scarcity thinking was around money, thinking that if I wasn't getting this paycheck, that I wouldn't be able to make money. Or if the stock market or economy wasn't going right, then I would not have money. And oftentimes the reality is one, I know for sure there's money everywhere. There is no shortage of money, there's no shortage of opportunity. It's the decision that we have to decide that we want to go forth and accomplish and do the thing, and the discipline to be able to execute on it. So the time that I spent working in corporate, which again I loved, I had the best corporate experience. It positioned me for the time that I have today and what I choose to do today. But it's also the discipline to say, you know what? I'm not tethered to a paycheck by the traditional senses. I actually have different ways that I can go and make money. I have skill sets. I have things that I can accomplish. And I had to look at the measuring stick of how I was measuring myself against others and define it and shift. And that shift happened for me because I had a number of losses. And one of the things that my grandmother, who was one of the people that I lost, and she says, you can get another title, but you don't get more time. And we need to have a scarcity mindset about our time. It's very limited. And I don't say that to be like Debbie Downer. I just say, how do we choose to use our time?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So, a major blockage in linking net worth to a self worth. What is your process for helping someone decouple their identity from their financial statement so they can build a wealth from a place of wholeness, not lack?
Well, this is such a great question because so many of us, I mean, I'm the same, right? We build our entire we build a large part of our financial identity tied to the things that we have. And for us to decouple that, one, I had that had to start for me, it had to start with internally. Like it was an internal decision that I needed to make for myself. I needed to decide that, you know what, there's more to it. And in my book, I talk about the fact that I had to come to a realization that I had worked hundreds and hundreds of hours to get an award bestowed upon me that was worth $100. And I said, what was the cost of this? And when we think about money, we have to think about what is the cost? How much are we really spending to get what we want? And what that looked like for me, and listen, I'm not saying, I had to be clear here. I'm not saying that I'm not for money. I do like, I'm not gonna
We
say I
like money, people.
do like money. But what I had to do, that the catalyst and that internal shift for me happened, it happened over time. It happened over decades. I didn't just wake up one day and make this decision. This happened over time. There were patterns that I had to be self-aware enough to recognize. And I talk about, there's one instance where I had been working and working hours, and for anybody who works on Wall Street or knows, we work a lot of hours, and I was all for it. I grew up in hustle culture, I really wanted it. But when I was making multiple six figures, I said, "Well, what was the cost of me making those multiple six figures? How much was I spending in therapy, wine, activities to self-soothe, meaning like shopping, nothing bad. I had to make sure it's shopping. um, I had to separate myself from the outcomes of the things, and I had to look more internally. But I do think it does begin with your own patterns and your own self-awareness of saying, you know what in my own thinking, what in my own behaviors are limiting me to create the life that I want to live? And it's honestly in the book, I encourage and I challenge the readers to give themselves permission to think broader and to have that instant, that internal breakthrough that doesn't happen in an instant. It happens over time. So like I said, I'm not anti-money, and I hope I'm answering your question, but I'm not anti-money, but I am really on a bigger path. And this is like not, maybe it's not for everyone, but I had to be self-aware enough to know that I needed to see the patterns before I could interrupt them. I had to unleash myself from these things in order for me to get the abundance that I wanted in my life, financially as well as personally. It wasn't just financial. Well, in the financial, I mean, I worked in a really lucrative area, but I also had to make some shifts. And I talk about three areas in the book, three pillars. I talk first about our mindsets. I talk second, our mindset is how we think, how we think about things, right? The second thing is money, our relationship with money, how we pursue it, what we think our definition of wealth is. And the third one is mastery. So it's money, mindset, money, and mastery. And mastery means different things to different people. But for me, it meant how can I master one, balancing my expectations with life, living my truth, and also being undeniably good at the things that I wanted to do for my life, and in service to the community that I thought was important for me to continue to serve.
Dr. Renee, many abundance philosophies emphasizes giving while in growth mode. What is
Yes.
your take on relationship between generosity and receiving, and how can someone practice this authentically, not a transaction?
I love I love this question as well because I serve, right? You know, I actually did a post about this yesterday. One of the things that have all has wasn't always, but has become a big part of my life is service. So people always ask me, "Well, what do you do?" And I say, "I serve." And I serve in my company. I created this company. I serve in the company. I serve the clients that I work with and helping them grow their businesses. I serve the students that I teach in, sharing my experiences with them. So, and giving them a guidance where they may not have guidance. And I also give back in a scholarship to those students, for first generation students, because I was one. I give back to my community in ways that I serve on the boards, especially when it comes to economic empowerment, because that's really important, because I know that education frees you, but also having the means also can help. So I think it's critically important that with great responsibility, we have all this responsibility. And I don't want to mess up the quote. So I'll just say it this way. When we have so much given to us, to whom much is given, much is required. I think that's the quote, right?
Hmm.
And I want to make sure that I show up. I'm sharing my knowledge, I'm sharing my experiences, I'm sharing my wealth, my time, my treasure, my talent. And I do think it's important that if you choose, we all believe in something bigger than ourselves. And if you believe in something that's bigger than yourself, then take the opportunity to give back. Take the opportunity to give back in a way that's meaningful to you. And we all have different ways to do it. I do it through the nonprofit boards that I serve on, as well as the work that I do with students. And I truly believe that mentoring is also important. I get to teach people the things that I wish somebody was there to tell me.
Well, such an empowering answer, Dr. Renee. So, what are your short term and long term goals as a debut author?
Well, first, I'm excited that the book is out, and I will tell you, I never thought that I would write a book. I mean, I wrote a dissertation when I was getting my doctorate, but this
Uh-huh.
process was very different. It's something very vulnerable about telling your story, and that was a scary thing. So the first thing was getting the book out. The second thing is to talk about it, to share the word. I think we all have a story within us, and the fact that now I'm sharing my story and saying, okay, here's what redefining wealth and success looks like for me. This is what abundance unleashed looks like, and being able to share the story. So right now, I am gearing up for conversations like this. Have I have another conversation this week. I'm just getting the word out there, and I'm also encouraging people. If you have a story within you, tell it. We all have the ability to have abundance. It's up to us to unleash it and decide. We get to choose, we get to decide. And I think that that was a mindset shift that I had to. I was waiting for people to tell me what to do. Now I say I get to choose, and that's what I'm doing with this book, putting the word out there, and hopefully it will land in the right spaces and places where it's meant to land, not to be forced.
Not to be forced. Looking forward for more success, Dr. Renee, and good luck. So, what will
Thank
be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be an author like you?
Well, I will say, just trust the process, go for it. And I had to learn that progress is better than perfection. And for type A personality, I wanted perfection and it is progress. Now, we're always going to do the very best that we can do, but unleash your gifts, share it with the world. Everyone has a story to tell, and you'd be surprised by the number of people who will be empowered and inspired by your story. So if you have a book, get out there, write it. I worked with a publisher, but I know that I just write. Like just put your words out there, put your gifts out there, and let it land for the in the right spaces and places.
Interesting, yeah, and thank you for that advice, Dr. Renee. And can you please recommend a book of books that influenced your journey?
Yes. So I actually have it right here. Hold on, I'm pulling it up right here. It's right here because I was just reading it and I did not expect that we were going to have this conversation. So I know you can see it, but this is a book that I read as a small business owner, and it's called The E Myth Revisited: Why Most Small Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It. And this is by Michael Gerber, who was like a small business guru, but he shares so many like ideas and insights about being an entrepreneur, growing pains, because being an entrepreneur, especially from those of us that came from corporate and went into entrepreneurship, it's just so important for us to understand working on the business and working in the business. So this is definitely redefined what I thought my philosophy around entrepreneurship. I revisit it often. No pun intended, since it's E-Myth Revisited, but no
Mhm.
pun intended, but it helped me understand to make our dreams work. Sometimes we have to take our head up out the sand and see things from a different viewpoint. So highly recommend, if you are a small business owner, to check out the E-Myth Revisited.
Yes. Thank you for that recommended book, Dr. Renee. So let's talk about the redefining legacy. If wealth is redefined, is so legacy, how does abundance and legacy look different from a traditional financial inheritance? What are you leaving behind?
Oh, this is a tough one, Daniel. So what am I leaving behind? All right. So, let me think. I will say leaving a legacy beyond money. That's what I'll say. It's
Mm,
beyond money. And I can pass down money from a bank account and that money can go, right? Like that money can go. But what I would want to instill in the legacy is that we are so much more. We can pass down our so much more than our finances, how our insights, the way we live, our values, our character. There's so many more things that we can pass down. So I'm not saying that it's not important, and I'm not ever going to disconnect the money piece from the mastery piece because I think that that's important, but I would say the legacy that we live behind is how we leave people. Did we leave them better than we found it? And when it's time for us to leave this earth, can we say that we left it better than we found it? And that is where I am. And that's where I see that abundance can live through us, not just in a financial way, but also in how we show up in the world.
Definitely. So it's an empowering answer, Dr. Renee. So before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season, abstract poetry in third season, and of course my book 101 review in sixth season as well, comedy 101 in third season, and my food 101 in sixth season as well, geography 101, Love Letters, Movie 101, Review Music 101, our fifth season, Science 101, Sex 101 in its fourth season, and of course, Trivia 101, Law 101, Mental Health 101, Motivation 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and Bible Verses 101 are my baby podcasts. So listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. So, Dr. Renee, tell us, if you could leave our listeners or viewers with one sentence that captures the heart of your abundance unleashed, what would it be?
I want you to realize that abundance is already yours. That's what I'll say. Abundance is already yours. Is within all of us. We just have to unleash it.
Yes, abundance is in within me. So materialize it
That's
and
right.
do it with your mind. Mindset, people, mindset. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your book, Dr. Renee, or anything you want to promote on Book 101 Review?
Yes, thank you so much. I would say check me out. My website is reneebaker.com. Check out my website, the information about the book. There's also ways that you can connect with me and also listen to my podcast, The Unleash Life. But that's where we talk about these things about unleashing possibilities. So, yes, that's the best way. And I would say the best way to support me is to look within yourself and figure out how you can unleash abundance for you in this one precious life that you're living.
Definitely, people support Dr. Renee Baker, because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering abundance unleashed will rise. And of course, the podcast itself. And I have one more question, Dr. Renee. How do you define sustainable abundance in a way that considers personal well being, ethical creation, and responsibility to our communities and planet?
Well, ethical, sustainable abundance. In order for it to be sustainable, we have to take care of ourselves holistically, right? So I always say self, health, wealth, we have to take care of all those things, but we also have to recognize it does start from the inside. I always say abundance is available to all of us. We have to unleash it, but that's why that mindset piece is so important. In order for us to be and do whatever we want to do and be sustainable, we have to not put so much pressure on ourselves, but we also have to make sure that we're strong enough from our mindset perspective to be able to endure longer term. So, yes, it might sound a little bit woo, but I'm not a woo person, I promise. I'm very much a basic person. I'm very much that way. But I'll tell you, learning these things, I've learned these things through life experiences and the journey. And I'm sharing it with so many of you so that you can learn smarter, not harder, and also learn from some of the experience that I had. Because I believe, Daniel, that we have mentors everywhere. Mentors are in these experiences, they're in books. I have many mentors through the different books that I read, but we learn so much better. We can learn from other people and try to see how it works within our lifetimes. So I hope that answers it.
Well, very well said, Dr. Renee. Thank you, thank you. Yes, people, there's no woo over here. They are real, realistic. Materialize it and do it as your mindset. So, Dr. Renee, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. And this is my first book review because the book just came out.
Yes, congratulations. More to come, people. See